Welcome back, Boxers. 3Box Media here. In the previous lesson, we downloaded VS Code and Node.js and verified our NPM installation through the CLI. For this lesson, we are going to be setting up your first project in VS Code. We'll also be getting some of the extensions you'll need, especially the ones that help make my life easier. And I'll give you a quick understanding of how to use these extensions. So go ahead and open VS Code, and I'll meet you there. All right, we should be in VS Code now. We're going to create our first project in here. And the way that I do this is I go to File, Open Folder, and now I'm in essentially my sandbox where I play. Navigate to the folder that you intend on storing your project. If you remember from lesson 2, I created a project in Firebase called Web123 course. So I'm just going to create the same thing here. Hit enter. I'm going to go into the folder and then click select folder. All right, now that I'm in the folder, I can start setting up the basic structure for it. At the very basic level, we can do a folder for CSS and another one for JavaScript. We can also build a simple index file at the root, and we'll do that by clicking New Folder on the root, and we'll create one file for CSS, or one folder for CSS, another one for JavaScript. Oops, that got tucked into the wrong one. And if that happens, you can simply drag it up to the root, and oh, looks like it doesn't want to come out. So we'll delete it. Click on the root again, and we'll add it in this way. All right, and then within each of these, we can create a file within them. So we'll do styles.css, and then in here, new file, main.js, and then on the root, we can create a new file. Oh, it's going into the JS folder. And we'll create our index.html. Okay, and that's currently kind of looks like it might be inside the JS folder, but it's staggered outside of it, so I know that it's in the root. And if we close these up, we can see that it's sitting on the root folder there. All right, now I'd like to go over some of the extensions that I use. If you go to this little icon here, this 3-box, 4-box item here, these are all the extensions. And some of the ones that I use, if you just type in to the search at installed, it'll show you everything that is currently installed. And some of the best ones that I use, and we'll come up here, I'll go into the index file. And one of the ones I use is called Emmet. And Emmet is it's kind of like code completion and code prediction at the same time. So if I type out something like doc and I hit tab, okay, it will generate the basic initial structure of my HTML document. Okay, and then from there I can be like in the body, for example, and let's say I want to add in a header within that header, I want to put in H1, and within that H1, I want to put in a class of title, okay? And then I hit tab, and it will automatically generate the semantic header tag along with the H1 with a class of title. And then you can start typing out your actual content. Another way that I like to use Emmet is by unordered lists and ordered lists. So if I type out ul arrow li and then the multiplication sign 5, and then I do another arrow a, okay, what that's going to do is it's going to create 5 list items inside of a nested ul with an href inside of each one, just like that. So I can start typing out my URLs and the text that goes within them. This will make your life a lot easier. Once you start getting used to it, you can get creative with it. I can tell you that I can spin up prototypes pretty quickly using Emmet. One last way that I'll show you here that's very useful is with the p tag, and let's add some class that I make up in here. Let's call it blog text, or we'll just call it blog. Okay, and then I'll do an arrow, and then I'll do lorem 50. Okay, and it's automatically going to add in a p tag with a class of blog, and it's going to add 50 words of lorem ipsum. Okay, so I can quickly spin things up. Okay. The next extension that I want to go over is called Live Server. Okay, and it looks like this. Okay, Live Server. It's got this purple icon. Now, when you're using Live Server, it spins up a local host that allows you to view your project as you're going along, and it provides real-time updates to the page. So one thing you want to have is autosave enabled, and there are a number of other settings within Live Server that will help you immensely. Let's put in some text here. Okay. Now, all you have to do once you have Live Server installed, right-click anywhere on the document and go to Open with Live Server. Okay. What that's going to do is, and it spun it up in a different window. Apologize for that. So I can see my code over here as I'm typing it out. So if I type in item 1 and then I click anywhere off the screen, it will automatically update the code. Now let's put in another paragraph. Okay, now jump over here and you'll watch and you can see how it quickly updates things. This is beneficial so that you don't have to save and go and open up the respective HTML file every time you want to test something. It just becomes very useful and tends to make things move along a lot faster. The next thing I use is the auto close tag. So if, for example, I type out the opening tag and it automatically appends it with the closing tag. Okay, it works with any one of them. Okay, the auto rename tag is another one that I like. So if you focus on this UL here and this UL here, if I change this to an OL, oops, and why is that not working? All right, sorry about that. I paused it and just came right back. It looks like during an update, maybe I had somehow lost my auto rename extension. So I've just reinstalled it, and now we'll jump back into the index file here. And now you'll see if I rename it, now it will change the corresponding closing tag. Or if I change this here whatever I change this to, it will change the corresponding closing tag. Helps you understand that maybe your code is laid out wrong, maybe you're missing a closing tag, something like that. It helps you catch errors like that. It also speeds up development. Okay, and the last one that I have is, as a recommendation for you, is called Prettier. Sometimes when you're typing out code, maybe you've got too many spaces. You're just not necessarily paying attention to the way things are currently laid out. So let's lay these out and just throw some spacing off, that sort of thing. So now it kind of looks jagged. So Prettier, what that does is it formats your document, okay, and it will realign everything. Okay, these tags need to match up. Okay, format the entire document, and it realigns everything. Now, where something like that is very useful, okay, let's pick a site here. Let's go to a simple site. Okay, this is my portfolio site here. So if you right click and go to page source, okay, let's say you want to grab all this text. Maybe you're working on something where you want to inspect the somebody else's source code. So we'll go ahead and we'll drop that in here, okay, and I'll go ahead and knock out everything that's in here, and I'll paste my text that I've got over here. I'll paste it back in here, and as you can see, things are kind of jacked up. Okay, you've got things indented that shouldn't be. You've got huge spaces between this tag and the closing head tag. So if you right click on it and you go to Format Document, it's going to prettify everything and just make it nice and smooth, and it makes development easier because you've got items sectioned off and properly staggered the way that they should be. All right, so that's all I've got for this lesson. Basically, we went over setting up your first project in Visual Studio Code, getting some of the extensions that you'll need to help make your life a little bit easier. And I've put in the description, I've put information about how to get additional extensions. There's an entire extension store for VS Code. And I also help give you a quick understanding of how to use some of these extensions. So if you have any comments, please leave them in the comment section below. As always, subscribe and hit the little bell on the side, and we'll keep making more videos to make your web development life as easy as possible. We'll see you next time.